What is up, traders? Hope everybody's doing well. Continuing the bias series for the mentorship, right? So this day was a pretty interesting day, and I actually ended up taking my trade before the market even opened. So before even 9:30, I'm gonna go over why I did that. This doesn't mean that I do this all the time, and it doesn't mean that I'm gonna tell you guys to do this all the time. But there's certain days like this day where I just feel like the market has done what it wants to do in terms of manipulation, pre-market, right? And those days I tend to just enter very low risk and just target my full target and just leave it at that, right? Let's start off on the higher time frame. Let's go to the daily chart. So if we go to the daily chart, obviously this candle, I'm not gonna look at this candle right now because this was still not barely, but this whole week was still not present when we came to the morning session. Let's say at 9 a.m. So we had this day, this day, this day. We had these lows, all these lows that I have marked out here. Tuesday low, Friday's low right here with an inefficiency right here on the daily. So that was kind of my target coming into the day. We can see here how we had Wednesday's low right here. I have this marked out. Let me zoom in a little bit more, like so, right? So you had Wednesday's low, Tuesday's low, you had double lows right here on the 1 hour time frame, and then you had Friday's low right here, and then that inefficiency, which also right here we had a 4 hour inefficiency which lined with that. So that was kind of my target. I was at least targeting Tuesday's low right here. And also we can see here that we had London low as well right here, right? So I was looking to target these, this right here. And so coming into the session, let's go on the 1 hour chart. You can see here 8 a.m. and during the 9 a.m. candles when we start to push down. And that's where the majority of the move happened, right? And this is why I entered early. So as I said, on the 4 hour chart, I'm looking at structure. My bias is clear to me that we want to drop down and sweep these lows, right? We had higher time frame SMT right here from the previous day. So if you go to ES, so I'm trying to show you guys the reason exactly why I entered before the market. So you had this higher time frame SMT right here, right? See that? Look at NQ. You had these lows. Look at ES. ES made a higher high. NQ made a lower high. Cool. So that was the first sign on the higher time frame. And then here on the 4 hour time frame, obviously had all the sell side. And we were respecting this inefficiency that got disrespected initially, but then re-respected, right? So we were kind of re-respecting that. Also, we had this 4 hour inefficiency. Obviously, you want to include the volume balance. So we were in it. I was expecting it to be respected and for us to push lower. Okay. So this big inefficiency right here, it was re-respected. Extend that. Re-respected again this week, taking out all this buy side right here, SMTs with ES. And then we were in this 4 hour inefficiency. I dropped down to the 1 hour and I start to see this 1 hour inefficiency. Yes, we were coloring above it, but you can see here, we weren't really moving above it. Like we closed here on 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It was just consolidating. There's no strength above it. Like we didn't have any impulse away from it like this, right? So it was definitely holding. Like for example, let me see an efficiency that we closed above with strength here. If you go to the, let's see, here for example, right? This inefficiency. When we close below it here, I mean, it's clear how the strength, just this huge inefficiency, we didn't, like this was a shallow break above. So that was just indicating that we're really not, price doesn't want to go up, right? That's not the direction of price. And then obviously coming down with all the sell side that I have here marked out, as I mentioned. So that's that on the 1 hour time frame. And then when I drop down to the 15 minute, this SMT started to be more clear to me. You had this 15-minute SMT with ES, which I have marked out here. Let's drop down to the 15-minute on ES. And then you can see here that SMT formed right here. Boom. You see? So NQ made a higher high. ES made a lower high right here, right? You can see that. Plus, NQ swept London highs. So when we talk about manipulation after the 9:30 open and we're waiting for our macro at 9:45, 9:50, those 15, 20 minutes, the whole point is to wait for the manipulation move to happen, right? We want to see the fake out move. We want to see buy side or sell side liquidity swept for us to go in the opposite direction, the correct direction. Here, this all happened. We have SMTs, we have London highs swept, we have higher time frame telling me that I want to go short. Why wait? These days, in my experience, tend to move really quick and not wait. Like you can see here, we started to move quickly off of the open. And by the time the macro came, if you drop down to the 1 minute, by the time macro came, 9:45, we had already swept this right here. This was 9:45, right? So we were already down, swept these equal lows on the 5 minute, right? With this 5 minute inefficiency, which we can see right here. And we were already on our way. So on these days, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be doing this all the time, or I do this all the time, or you guys, especially you guys, I'm not asking for you guys to do this all the time, or even at the beginning, like you don't do this, but in the future, when you start to become more experienced, there's days where you can tell that the market is ready, it's done its manipulation, like it's ready to go, right? So I entered literally as soon as I saw the sweep, and I was like, okay, done. The manipulation happened, and I put my stop loss right above this high, remember? I entered very light, as I said, because this is just so high probability for me that I don't mind putting a higher stop loss. I just want to capture the move, right? And just sit through it. And as we can see here, TP was hit very, very quickly. Price just absolutely dropped. And I'm not saying that this happens all the time, every day, but I'm saying that on this particular day, the reason why I didn't wait for my macro is all the manipulation, all the things that we wait to happen after the market open had happened before market open. That's the only reason. So in my opinion, I just saw that price is ready to drop. It was ready to go where it wants to go. Makes sense? Now, even if we go and if you waited for the 2 a.m. macro, which I actually didn't take, but here, 2 a.m. macro, you would have also got an entry, 10:45. Right here. How would that have been? First of all, you have equilibrium of this leg from here to here. Where's that? 50%. We've reached that, right? We're in premium. Now, we have right here SMTs with ES. So if you drop down to ES, you go to the 1 minute, you have SMTs with ES. Where's the SMTs? Right here. If you look at this high from here to here, and then look at NQ. This is the bread and butter setup that happens every single day. Right here. So ES made a lower high, NQ made a higher high. And then we had this, you would have entered off of an order block, of a rally gap, whatever you wanted. But this is where the macro started. So we had this order block right here, which you could have entered off of beautifully. You would have had 1 TP at these lows, and then 1 TP at these lows, which you would have had your first TP hit. And then when these lows happened, you would have moved your stop loss to structure, so like around here, right? So you could have entered off this, or you could have entered off of, which is the same entry basically, this breaker right here. So you have a high, a low, a higher high. So what's the down close candles? You have all of these right here, right? So these become a breaker block. Or you could have entered off of this order block on the 1 minute. So, and then you would have gotten tapped into like both. So it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But you would have used any of these entries. I personally would have used the order block, put my stop loss right above it, full TP at these lows, first TP at this low. Bread and butter setup. So even if you didn't catch, and just this is a very important point, is even if you didn't catch this move, right, and you, especially in the beginning, you want to be waiting for your macro until you're a very experienced trader where you can kind of a little bit deviate if you see very unique cases or price action like today. But just goes to show you that even if you don't catch the first macro or the first initial entry, you can still for sure catch. I mean, this is a nice, what is this? Even just your first TP, this is a 66 handle move. Like, but what do you need more than that, right? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. 66 handle move. Like, even if you didn't catch your first initial macro move, you would have still been able to capture this. Very nice move, right? So that just goes to show that you don't have to catch every move, and all you need is a small portion of the entire race. So this, you would have caught this from all of this. This is all you would have need to catch. Look at that. And that's it. You're good and done for the day, right? So that was today's lecture on today's bias breakdown analysis from higher to lower time frame. Hope you guys found this insightful. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you got any questions, feel free to ask them. And until next time, stay safe and happy trading.